What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. Today, we're going to be talking about NBA YoungBoy and whether or not he can beat the feds 4 times in a row. You're probably looking at the thumbnail like, 4 times? He only beat him once. Not really. You know that he beat him at trial. But prior to that trial in LA, what did he do? He beat him on that suppression hearing. Then he beat him at the trial, which is definitely not an easy thing to do. And then he goes down to Louisiana and he beats him a 3rd time on a suppression hearing, where the judge suppresses some of the evidence, which is going to make it probably difficult for the government to convict him in Louisiana, but we're going to get into that in a minute. As most of you know, I spent 18 years of my life in federal prison, became a jailhouse lawyer, won many cases all over the country, man. Federal courts all over the place. Sent 4 dudes home that had life sentences, and I've won probably over 100 cases since I've been in prison, and now that I'm out, I own a paralegal and prison consultant firm. If your husband just got arrested or your girlfriend and she's sitting in the county jail and she's looking at Fed time, you might want to grab this book. It's called Busted by the Feds by Larry Fassler. This was the first book I read when I first got arrested, and I can tell you, man, that I read it in the first night. If you ain't got that bread like your boy YoungBoy, you better go ahead and get that book and school yourself. And then if you want to know what federal prison's really like, if your husband's in there, your wife's in there, well, I can't really comment on the women's prisons, but if your husband's in there or he's on his way, I wrote a book about Big Sandy, USP Big Sandy, one of the most dangerous, violent federal prisons in the country. You can go ahead and grab that by hitting us up at freedomfighterspc@gmail.com. But anyway, let's get into it, man. We're going to talk about YoungBoy. We're going to talk about whether or not he can beat him. You're going to get my opinion. Let's see if I'm right. Most people don't realize that NBA YoungBoy's case didn't start on September 28th, 2020 in Louisiana. Instead, it started on September 27th, 2020. When one of them neighbors, yeah, you know, we all got them, the neighbor that's in everybody else's business but their own, the person calls 911 and complains, yo, check this out. There's a bunch of dudes out here. They're filming a rap music video. Some of them got dreads, and they also have guns. Can you please send the cops? I'm scared. Yeah, you know, you got a neighbor like that, or at least you had one back in the day, right? So anyway, the neighbor calls the police. The cops show up. They find nothing. They leave empty-handed. But deep in their mind, they're like, yeah, we know who that is. That's Kentrell, NBA YoungBoy. That's him and his people. And sometimes people get jealous, man. There's haters in all things in life. We've all faced it. We've all seen hate. And when one cop hates you, it turns into 2. 2 turns into 4. 4 turns into 8. And why they hate this kid, no one really knows. But they're like, yo, we're about to get his ass, man. We're about to get him. The next day on September 28, 2020, according to the government, according to the prosecutors and the police receive another call. And again, the person says, yo, check this out. These dudes are out here in the street. They're in front of this rapper's grandfather's house, I think. They got guns. And once again, I'm scared. Can you please send someone? So the cops get that call, if that ever really happened, and they show up. And you know, for whatever reason, it seems like law enforcement had a one-track mind. They wanted to lock NBA YoungBoy up and throw away the key. It is no secret that the police placed a target on YoungBoy, as is evidenced by naming the operation Never Free Again. An obvious takeoff on YoungBoy's highly successful music and marketing brand, Never Broke Again. The operation appears to have been instigated with the purpose of seeking out a criminal charge for YoungBoy, Kentrell Golden, without regard for his constitutional rights and those of the people around him. The police had their eyes on YoungBoy. They wanted him. We're about to get him. The sergeant rolls up first, and some people take off. You see it all the time, man. Police roll up in the hood. Dudes take off, whether or not you're doing something wrong or you're not doing anything wrong. A lot of people don't want to be confronted by the police, especially not in this day and time. You might end up on the wrong end of the gun. So some dudes are like, yo, I'm not sticking around. I'm out of here. Law enforcement then executes a dragnet to detain, handcuff, and arrest 17 people, including YoungBoy. No crime had been alleged, but law enforcement used this 911 nuisance complaint as an opportunity to unleash Operation Never Free Again. The cops cuff and set a dozen or more young men on the asphalt road in the middle of numerous police vehicles. No probable cause or reasonable suspicion existed for most, if not all of those arrested. Law enforcement disregarded their rights as they searched, seized, questioned, and trampled upon their liberty, seeking a crime to charge YoungBoy with. And sometimes you see this in life, right? The police, they don't even have a reason to arrest you. They show up, they grab you, they arrest you, they detain you, they put you in the back of the cop car, they take you down to the public safety building, they take you down to the police station, and then they start looking for evidence. Let's see what we can find. What do you mean, see what you can find? You just arrested me. What am I arrested for, sir? And I believe Youngboy had asked him that. He said, yo, what am I arrested for? And they couldn't answer. They didn't have nothing to arrest him for yet, right? But for real, he was arrested. He couldn't leave. He was being held against his free will. He couldn't just get up and walk away. All these men were eventually charged and booked with essentially the same crimes, with little or no effort to individualize the charges to the facts. And that's what they do. They roll up, they find a gun in the bushes, they arrest everybody in the vicinity. Well, how did we all possess the gun? And if you're in the street getting money, pay attention. Golden was eventually charged with possession with intent to distribute a Schedule II controlled substance, oxycodone, possession of a stolen firearm, and possession of a firearm with controlled dangerous substances. One of the people that the police hem up was Marvin Ramsey. Most of you might know him as Rich Porter. Mr. Ramsey, aka Rich Porter, is, as most people may know, Youngboy's cameraman. He's with him everywhere he goes. He's taking footage. Yo, we're going to use this for the next video. We're going to use this for Instagram. We're going to promote this album with this footage. That's his job. That's what he's doing. Once everyone is arrested, the cops now seek out warrants to search a 2020 black Cadillac Escalade, a 2013 green Dodge Ram 1500, a 2014 gray Chevrolet Traverse, and a 2006 green Acura TL SUV. And they get this from a new state court judge, who likely wanted to show that she stands with the police. She's like, look, I'm going to sign all your warrants. Just keep voting for me. Keep putting me in office so I can get some of this free money from the taxpayers, right? And NBA Youngboy, your man's in the 2006 green Acura TL SUV. You getting that bread, man. Upgrade that thing for him. In making out the affidavit to search, the cops do what they do in many cases. A lot of people don't realize this. The police start lying. They tell the judge that a reliable source had reported that several subjects associated with Street Gang Never Broke Again, NBA, and Bottom Boy Gorillas, BBG, were at 3866 Chippewa Street, an abandoned residence, and in the empty lot on the east side, on the mentioned address, brandishing firearms. And see, that's what the cops do, right? They want to make it look better, and they say it's a reliable source, because a reliable source could just be a concerned neighbor. When it's a confidential informant, usually that person's involved in the drug game or involved in criminal activity, got a criminal record. So they kind of bolster their credibility by saying, look, Judge, we got a reliable source. A person that has nothing to gain has given us this information, and you should definitely issue this warrant so we can search. There was no reliable source, but this is what law enforcement do in many cases, as I just said. They fabricate and manipulate so they can lock your ass up. When they throw Rich Porter on the truck, yeah, you know what they do. Put your hands on the truck, spread your legs. They pat him down, and according to the government, they find a 4.5 Glock on him and a Sony 7R digital camera with an SD card. But Rich Porter is not a person that can't have a gun. In Louisiana, the law is clear that people can open carry. It's legal. You can have a gun down here. The cops search all the vehicles and find 5 or 6 additional weapons and more drugs. Inside the Escalade, cops find a bag and a lens for the Sony 7R camera Ramsey had in his possession when detained. The same bag that they find contains 2 .45 caliber Glock magazines. Boys was down there meaning business. Which was the same weapon found on Rich Porter. A letter addressed to Porter, a MacBook Pro computer, and several SD cards. The videos show, according to the government, the video of Youngboy near the corner of Brady Street and Delaware Street, East Baton Rouge, Parish at 1:45 p.m. Approximately 3 hours before the 911 call, carrying a pistol as he walks down the street. Another video shows defendant at 2:34 p.m., approximately 2 hours before the 911 call, carrying a modified Masterpiece Arms 9mm pistol while driving, which officers found while searching that Acura SUV, the one that they need to upgrade. The SD card showed images of Youngboy in and around the location associated with the 911 call, or within 2 blocks of the Chippewa location, possessing weapons including a pistol in his waistband. The evidence was looking bad for Youngboy. Armed with the evidence, the case goes federal. Youngboy is a felon, and the feds charge him with violating 18 U.S.C. 922G. That's a felon in possession of a firearm. How much time is he looking at? That charge comes with 0 to 10 years. With Youngboy's criminal history, if he goes to trial and blows, he's likely facing about 57 months in the feds, if convicted, of course. They also charge him with possession of a firearm not registered in the National Firearms Registration and transfer record in violation of 26 U.S.C. subsection 5861D. Kind of a whatever charge, right? Because if you get found not guilty of the 922G, then you're not going to be found guilty of the 5861. Nothing to really worry about. The real charge is that 922G. But Youngboy, he has some high-powered lawyers. And they were not just going for anything. He had that bread. He brought in a team. And when you bring in a legal team like he has, you start winning stuff. A lot of people, the average cat, you get arrested, man, you're out there getting money, petty hustling at times. You ain't got no lawyer, you get the federal public defender. You go file a suppression motion, you lose, but not for Young Boy. Young Boy's attorneys filed a suppression motion. They argue that the cops misled, lied, and failed to disclose important facts to a newly elected state court judge in multiple affidavits. This happens every day, and seldom do regular people win on these motions. In most federal cases, people believe that they have a Fourth Amendment right. But trust me, it's slowly evaporating, at least in federal court. These people do whatever they want to do. They do whatever they want. The law don't matter to the police. They can lie to judges. Judges always sign off on this stuff, right? And most people cop out. They plead guilty. Man, I ain't playing no games with these people, man. I'm going to go ahead and take the 5 years. I'm going to go ahead and take the 10 years. I'm going to go ahead and take the 37 months. The lawyers fought hard to get the videos suppressed because besides all the bullshit, keeping it 100, those videos hurt Young Boy. We know the police don't catch Young Boy with no gun, so absent them videos, what do they really have? Not much. On February 24, 2022, the judge says Golden, Young Boy, cannot seek to suppress the firearms because he lacks Fourth Amendment standing as to them. So they're not going to throw the guns out in this case. They're like, nah, we're keeping the guns. However, he has a Fourth Amendment standing as to the SD card media. Suppression of the SD card media is appropriate because the warrant was invalid on its face, and the warrant is not saved by the good faith exception to the exclusionary rule. The warrant is also rendered invalid after the fact because Corporal Barnett recklessly included materially misleading information within it. You know, that's when the cops get reprimanded by a judge. Doesn't happen often. The cops are like, yo, check this out, Corporal. You lied and we caught you. Well, I didn't catch you, I'm the judge. But these lawyers over here, these high-powered dudes, they put in that work and they caught you lying. On March 16, 2022, Morrell Beatty pleads guilty to possessing the Glock 45 and 9mm. And just days ago, on July 14, 2022, the judge sentences him to 37 months. Beatty pretty much is Young Boy's co-defendant. He cops out, he takes ownership, this is what it is. So now you ask, what kind of case does the government have against Young Boy in Louisiana? It is a slim case, but the government seldom throws cases out. The government already knows that their people lost in Cali. His lawyers were artful in arguing that Young Boy did not know that the gun was in the car and he had no intent to possess it. His lawyer said in his closing argument in that Cali case that other people had access to the luxury vehicle. The prosecutors failed to link his client to the gun with DNA or fingerprint evidence, and that no witness ever testified that they saw Young Boy with a covered weapon. But the prosecutors, like pit bulls, they couldn't let go. They told the jury that Young Boy showed his guilt when he fled, his surprise arrest and hid in a backyard. They also said the FNX 45 recovered from Young Boy's Maybach was purchased in December 2020 by a man named Joel Diggs, a man whose brother Joseph Diggs is the partner of the Demetrius Monique Coleman, a beloved godmother figure in Golden's life. This lady's like Young Boy's mom. She's a godmother. In one of his songs, he referred to an FN and called Monique a mother figure, but like the wind in Louisiana, the court ruled with Young Boy and said that the government cannot use those lyrics. The defense told the jurors that the prosecutor never established the whereabouts of Joel or Joseph Diggs. Around the time of the arrest, they couldn't rule them out as being present at a gathering of Young Boy's friends at the Beverly Hilton Hotel just days earlier. That left the juror wondering who the gun belonged to. These jurors are left wondering, who does that gun belong to and whether or not Young Boy ever possessed it? A 21-year-old juror, Maheen Barrier, said prosecutors didn't have enough to solidly pin it on him. Our main topic was, that day, nobody knew who actually was at the house that day. They didn't know if he knew the gun was in the car that day. And then we just argued that since they couldn't prove he had no knowledge of the gun that day, that we couldn't say without a reasonable doubt that he knew about the gun. If they had proof of him having the gun in Los Angeles, like taking pictures with it, or if the DNA test could have confirmed that he was actually one of the DNA profiles on the gun, maybe the verdict would have been different, the jurors said. We believe the evidence presented in this case supported the charges brought by the grand jury. While we are disappointed with the verdict, we respect the jury's decision. This is what the U.S. Attorney's Office said, the prosecutor, right? Syrian McAvoy in Los Angeles. Do you really believe that the prosecutors respect the verdict? Or is that just being politically correct? It seems like the case in Louisiana is even shakier for the government. Again, Young Boy is not caught with a gun, not seen by cops with one. And we know those videos have gone up in smoke when the judge suppressed them. Young Boy is still under house arrest in the Louisiana case, right? On July 18th, his lawyers petitioned the judge to change his conditions now that the California case is in the rearview mirror. He wants to go on tour. He said the first place he's hitting is Chicago. Will it be? So now you want to know what my opinion is. I kind of give it away, right? My opinion is that the government don't have much to stand on. Old boy cops out. He takes the 37 months. Stuff's suppressed. What are they going to say? He's not caught with nothing. He don't have no gun. He don't have no drugs on him. The other dude takes responsibility. Does he beat him for a fourth time? I think he does. But I promise you this, and I'm going to give you a case that I did while I was in prison. Kid out of New Jersey, right? Catches a case, gets a big shot lawyer, got big money, goes to trial, he beats the feds. His name's Keith Stewart. Keith Stewart beats the feds, gets out, jumps back in the game, starts hustling. They catch him. They take him to trial again. And this time he blows. And this time they give him 35 years. When I say blow, that means you blow trial, you lose. It's over. You're done. Gets 35 years. He's been in prison, I don't know what, maybe. How long has Keith been in prison now? About 20-something years, maybe? Around 20 years. And begging to get out of jail, man, and there's no way out. There's no way out. And when you talk about the Fourth Amendment, man, I'm putting my jailhouse lawyer cap on for those of you that stuck around for the whole video. Listen, man. You know, you believe that you have a right against unreasonable searches and seizures, right? And I guess in state court, a lot of times it still works out. But in federal court, they got all kinds of laws, man. So if you're out here getting money, be careful. They got the good faith exception, right? Well, they were acting in good faith, so they busted in your house without a warrant, and then they found all this stuff. So we're not going to throw it out because the cops were acting in good faith. It's nonsense, man. It's not what the framers believed. It's not what the people that started this country believed in. But it's how the federal court system works. They play no games. And when we talk about suppression hearings, you know, an average dude probably wouldn't have won this case, man. I'm just keeping it 100. Probably not. Average dude with a regular ass lawyer that ain't fighting for you, you're about to lose, man. You're not going to be as lucky as my man right here, NBA Youngboy. You're not going to be as lucky as him. So think about that, man. When you're out there in the street, man, be careful with the things that you do. Young boy, man, I want you to think about this. You probably never watched this video, but if you do, man, breathe easy, man. You got that paper. I'm not telling you to disassociate yourself with, you know, the people that you love, people that you care about. But, man, you got to be easy, man. Everything that you always wanted in life, man, you got it, man. Fortune, fame, a family. You can take care of yourself, take care of your people. And these people can take it from you, man, in the blink of an eye. Trust me when I tell you that, man. You know, I'm doing another big case, man. And this is a dude that I was super cool with, man. Dude's out of Detroit. I'm not going to say his name, but he's out of Detroit. Brush elbows with some very big people, man. Mariah Carey, Eminem, friends with Nick Cannon. Like, this dude was brushing shoulders with some important people, man. Angie Martinez. Tour bus gets hit. Eventually he ends up in prison, man, with a life sentence plus more. This man had a face transplant, hair transplant. He couldn't get away from the feds, man. And he's sitting in there with life now. And I've been working on his case since 2010. We've been trying. We've been fighting. And, man, that man just wants to get out of jail, man. He just wants to be free. He don't want to be involved in the streets no more. And whether or not he gets a chance, I'm hopeful that he does, man. He's my friend. But when these people catch you and they start putting these things on you, never free again, man, that's letting you know that these people are on your tail, man. It's letting you know, like, these people are not playing games. And don't think that when they lose, that they're like, it's the system. Nah, man, a lot of these people take this shit personal. So NBA Youngboy, man, be easy, man. Take it from me, man. I spent 18 years of my life in federal prison. I've seen plenty of dudes, man, out there getting money. I've seen famous dudes in there. I've seen rich dudes in there. I've seen broke dudes in there. I've seen rich dudes that become broke. Don't be that dude, man. Get your shit together, man. Stay out the streets, man. Be easy. Don't do shit like Kodak Black, man, riding around with a messed up tag and I'm telling you, man. And for those of you that don't know, yeah, you're a felon. You possess a gun. They charge you with a 922G. 0 to 10 years. No one ever gets a 0. A lot of people get that 10. And then if they armed career criminal you or career you, if they ACCA you, it's a 15-year mandatory minimum. What does that mean, Chad? It means you got priors, man. You got a robbery third in New York. You got a drug charge. You got 2 drug charges and a robbery. You got a burglary, some bullshit you did when you were 16. Then you caught a drug case, and then you got a bullshit robbery. that you got probation for. Well, now when the feds catch you with that gun, your mandatory minimum is 15 years, man. That's your cop-out. If you go to trial, I've seen people blaze, man. I've seen a dude end up with life, man, on an armed career criminal act. I'll never forget him, man. Life. Old black dude from Texas. They gave that man life. And they started selling MP3 players, right? I'm going to give you this real quick before we go. And he seen the picture of the MP3 player. He said, man, I hope Santa Claus brings me an MP3 player, man. I'm like, damn, man. This dude's got a life sentence. He ain't got no family sending him nothing. I bought the man an MP3 player, man. Santa Claus showed up. But anyway, man, that's my take. Jailhouse Lawyer Reacts. I hope you enjoyed the video. You know, once in a while we'll do videos like this, maybe some true crime stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. But most of all, man, stay out the streets, man. Blood on the Razor Wire TV with respect. Until tomorrow, we're out.